Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Yeah.
Nice.
You cheap skate. So obviously that's from Home Alone. We'll get into that here in a second. But welcome everyone. It's Monday night, and this is After the Weekend.
Yeah.
And I guess some would say the parent is has left the two children to the home, this channel alone. So
let's be honest. Most of the time, he's the one disrupting things more than we are.
Yeah, but you know what we got? We got our sweaters. You got your
And
little jacket. Yeah. Oh yeah, you got your hat. Just all ready for the holiday season. Look at you. You're kind of like
I'm gonna be sweating in a minute. The things I do for you folks.
you know what? We appreciate it. So we do. You kind of look like Santa, like Santa on with Just Men. He's dyeing his beard.
Yeah. This is still when he was working an office job before he went, self-employed.
It kind of reminds me of another great Christmas movie, The Santa Claus, where he shaves and the beard just pops. Yeah,
If only it were that easy.
No, it is. That's what happens. That's what happens here. This is why they
You need to know somebody's name, just ask me.
Who's that?
That is Beardy.
Beardy.
That's not his real name. That's just what I call him.
Makes sense.
It hasn't gone away. But yeah, we're gonna welcome everyone again. This is, like I said, this is After the Weekend. We love reviewing, taking the trip back home to old classic movies. And tonight we're doing 1990s Home Alone, and we're very excited about that. This is like a staple movie with the young kids. I remember young kids back in the day. We would always say that line that we just showed.
Yep.
Keep the change, you filthy animal. A lot of kids that was like the go-to, right? When you gave money to people as a kid, you would say,
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
And then we would just all giggle and laugh because we thought we were cool, and our parents would be shaking their heads.
Cool. We were cool. What are you talking about? I've always been cool.
Oh yeah? Okay. Well, I guess that's true. You've always been cool. Yeah. Because I think you are a part of the
You're out. Doyle rule.
Yeah, you're part of that clan. Well, anyways, Home Alone, like I said, let's go ahead and say hi to a lot of our friends and some we consider family. We got here Luna Girl. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while.
Good evening.
I saw you. I think you popped in the chat on Saturday, so we do appreciate that. We got Nicole. Hello, JT and Beard. Hey, Nicole.
Hello.
How are you doing? Now, R2, like I said, he's on break, so he's doing fatherly things while we're running the show here. Nicole says, very nice sweater and Christmas jacket. Yeah.
Thank you. It was incredibly cheap, I swear.
Yeah, this was at who Bucky is. That is this wonderful beaver out in Texas that has the cleanest restrooms of all the land. Do you have a Bucky's while you were in Texas?
Not incredibly close. I actually have to go really out of my way to get to one.
Well, they're trying to put them everywhere. So, Beard needs some tiny lights woven into his beard. Yeah, they make those. Here's your buddy.
Hey, what's up, Aaron?
Good to see you, Aaron. Yes, we both look festive. We look great. So, now before we get started with the review of Home Alone, this I don't is this on the list of your like top 5 Christmas movies, or is this more of like your what is this for you?
I guess I could say that. Yeah, I never really considered my top Christmas movies, but this Christmas Story and National Lampoon's, those are probably 3 of my favorites.
Okay, so
This is definitely one that I watched a bunch as a kid. So just
Oh,
for
yeah.
everybody that knows that I'm the guy that never watched anything, this was not a first watch for me. I actually do watch this one.
And did you know this was a John Hughes film?
Eventually, at some point, yes, I learned that. I don't know when it
Yeah.
was.
He was a big fan of Macaulay Culkin because he was also in a movie that we reviewed a while ago, Uncle Buck. And he promised him, I think I believe he tried him out in that movie. He liked him a lot. He's like, I got to give this kid a movie, and this is the movie that you got. And I also believe, and we'll get into this to a little later, I think this is one of his most successful movies. Was Home
Yeah,
Alone.
surely.
So we're gonna definitely go on a nice little sleigh ride with the Home Alone story, and I can't wait to get started. This is definitely one of the movies that we like to watch in our home. It's I don't know if it's a top 5, but it is a fun Christmas movie. It's definitely a family movie that does get you. One thing I did notice when I rewatched it is when you watch it when you're a kid, you're like, oh, what are all the things that I would do if I was home alone, right?
Yeah.
And you're pitching yourself doing all the things he would do, like eating a bowl of ice cream, hanging out, just watching R-rated movies. What else did he do? Order pizza by himself.
Let's see, what's that line he says? I'm eating garbage, watching trash, or something like that. He's got a bowl of ice cream with marshmallows and chocolate syrup.
Yeah. So he's all and he says even out loud, he's like, I'm doing all these things. Come stop me.
Yeah.
So those are all the things that you link up to as a kid. But when you're older and you start having little ones, you start linking up to the fact that, wow, that would be really terrifying if you left your child at your house while you took a European vacation. That would be horrible. Right? That would be a really scary feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
And
don't have kids, but I can identify that feeling that people would have. But since I don't have kids, I watch this now and I start thinking, how would I defend my home? What traps would I set up? Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, that's true. Like, what traps would you do, and that sort of thing. But as a family member, though, there's a lot of messages in this movie, and we'll get into them. Like as a family member, as an adult, and as a kid who grows up, that all the things that we all cherish, especially at this time of the year. So Nicole says, heck yeah, Beard. She must be talking about all your traps.
Yeah.
I think what I would do if Tom Rogue Attraction was trying to rob my house as a kid, I would just put tree.
The tree touched me.
I always got to find a reason to play that, I guess.
You just move the Christmas tree over in the front door and he can't get in.
That's true. Let's see here. So what are the things that you would do real quick? Name one or two things that you would do to put a trap on your house?
I mean, he basically did it with the Christmas ornaments, but it's fancy thing is they're caltrops, like spiky, pointy things that can either pop tires or hurt feet. So
yeah. All right, so you put those down, like the ornaments and then the micro machines.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm down for the paint buckets if I had stairways. The tar and feather is a good idea. That's a good American original. So that's good. Hey Dragon Buddy, good to see you.
Hey, what's
Thanks
up?
for stopping by. And I think TP Theme Park Casual came in. There you go.
Yeah.
Good to see you, man.
What's up?
Yeah, Nicole's right. Home Alone taught all us little ones at the time how to protect our house, and so on. So just a fun. It's a fun movie. It's a fun movie to rewatch if you haven't done in a while, especially with
Yeah.
if you have kids. I think they would enjoy it. But his family, he's got a pretty big family. I mean, this was in 1990. I think this was a large family for that time period. It's definitely a large family for now. He was one of let's see there, 5
5?
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't normally see a big family like this anymore. And usually in John Hughes films, the families usually have a daughter and a brother. But I think this is one of the original ones where he had a bigger family. And the dad, everyone's wondering what the dad does for a living because
Yeah, I was just sitting here wondering, wait, did they ever mention that in the film? Because that is
no,
one
but
big nice house.
but we'll talk about the house. The mom could also be the one in on it. There's all kinds of rumors, like, is the dad in the mafia? Is the mom like some kind of secret politician type of deal, right? Because they do have a very large house. They live in Chicago in a very nice neighborhood. A mob lawyer.
Mom lawyer.
Some say he's the cop from Sopranos, which the dad actually played in Sopranos as of the cops. Let's see here. Dragon Buddy said I was down with the paint buckets, but my micro machines were sacred or scared.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah, yeah, mafioso, yeah. But he had an older brother, Buzz, and he was just kind of a jerk, like a typical jerk older brother. And then you had, and this kid I always remember from Pete and Pete is his other brother, the redhead there. Do you remember Pete and Pete?
Can't say I do.
From Nickelodeon. Is there anybody in the chat that remembers Pete and Pete?
I wasn't much of a Nickelodeon kid.
That was Jeff. That was Michael there. Pete and Pete was like, he was another brother, but he had a little brother as well. And then you had his 2 sisters there. So he had a pretty good family. Pretty big family. He always felt, though, Kevin was his name in the movie. He always felt like he didn't belong, right? He always felt like he was kind of the outsider, the baby. That's why he would. Yeah.
Casting such a big family lent itself to that story beat where he was overlooked by everybody.
Mm-hmm. And he would do things like what was the scene where he's like, it's not like I burnt down the house, like he would like leave out micro machines, or because it's around Christmas and they're all going to a trip to Paris, and I believe most of the family is on the mom's side that shows up. I think, I can't remember if it's the dad's side or the mom's side, but
I think it's probably the dad's side because they're going to visit his brother who lives in Paris.
Okay, because
and most of the other family doesn't seem to come back with them at the end of the movie, so I assume they stayed to continue having their holiday in Paris.
I think they did, because there was an uncle with them and a couple others, but yeah, so there's like a huge family get together here, and they're all going to Paris. And the big mistake of the whole movie, and of course, of everyone, is this is a pretty popular movie, so hopefully I'm not spoiling it for anybody. They leave the house in the early morning because I think their clocks were wrong, or they overslept.
Tree falls on the power lines, knocks out the power, so the clocks reset.
Yeah, and then they are late to the airport. Kevin is locked up in the attic because he was going to sleep up there the night before because he got in trouble, and no one wanted to sleep with him because he was just a brat.
Better than sharing a bed with his cousin that was going to pee the bed.
Yeah, so he gets left behind, and then the craziness goes on from there, and the mom realizes that she left him. Now, this was a really interesting, little boy gets left at home. Spoiler, yeah, pretty much. And he saves his house from being robbed. That's basically what happens. Now, this we're gonna jump into really quick. We're gonna jump into numbers really quick because this movie was a big hit in 1990. So we're gonna cover, like I said, the numbers real fast here.
11, 92, 12.
It's funny that I made that clip about the numbers and we're doing this movie. That's
Yeah,
where
we hadn't picked it by the time you did this.
Yeah, that's when one of the cousins is counting oh no, it's a sister, that's right, is counting the heads of all the children that are about ready to get
Yeah.
into the van before they leave, and she mistakenly counts the neighbor's kid as Kevin, and that's kind of what happens because she says all the kids are accounted for, and so on. So,
And fun fact, if Buzz really wanted to be more effective, you pick a random number and can count sequentially from that number. It's much easier to ignore random numbers.
okay,
So if you want to be an effective jerk when somebody's trying to count heads, that's how you do it.
facts here on
Mhm.
After the Weekend. So now this is the moment in the video or our live stream, because we are live, where you get to pick the budget, guess the budget, and guess the box office. And then I'm going to give you one hint. The budget wasn't very high, but the box office was very high, actually. Anyone want to take a guess on this? Let's see here. Theme Park Casual says budget was 25 million. Box office was 30 gajillion. Yeah, you're close. Yeah, you might be close on that one.
Yeah, I was thinking about this today and earlier when you were going over some of the slides before we got started. I made sure to look away because I didn't want to see the number.
Yeah. And we're gonna save Nicole's there for our fun fact area. But anyways,
I'm gonna guess. I think it's probably a lot lower than people think. So I think it's probably like $10 million budget, and I think it did 200 million easy.
okay, so you're saying 18 and this is just US, by the way. What we're just doing. So 18 and 200. Okay.
Well, actually, I'm doing lower than 18. I'm doing 10. I think it was like because when you think about it, it doesn't really have much of a set. The house is already built. They spend most of the time in the house and the kind of surrounding areas of the house.
Well,
So,
yeah. And Kevin,
it does have a big cast, but most of them don't spend a lot of time on screen.
Kevin was a child actor, so he was probably cheap. So, anyways, anyone else want to guess? Theme Park so far is the only one that has guessed. While we're waiting for that those guesses to come through, I would say that this movie surprised a lot of people how good it actually did in theaters. Okay, so no one's gonna guess here. How about I do a clip and then you put in your numbers? How about I do this? Okay.
Time's up.
All right. So if you're watching this not live, you can put it in the comments and pause. So the budget was 18 million.
Okay.
The box office. Now Rick usually does like the calculations what this dollar amount is today. I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing that. So we're in 1990 numbers here. Box office was $285 million.
Wow.
And check this out. So this opening weekend of Home Alone was 17 million. They almost made their budget off the opening weekend. And this came out on November 16th, 1990. So right before the Thanksgiving weekend. Wookie Be Bad. Trump is in the second one. That's Home Alone 2 in Lost in New York.
Yep.
This is Home Alone 1. But I appreciate the comments, but you can
keep the change, you filthy animal.
Nicole says, I bow out because I've watched previous okay. You can still pretend that you don't know, but it's okay.
I mean, I knew it wasn't going to have that large of a budget, but okay, that makes sense. And I figured the box office was going to be good because obviously how popular it was even before it hit VHS. But
I was
thinking
Theme Park.
Oh, doing the work for us.
I mean, that's still a lot of money.
But I figured it wasn't going to have much legs after Christmas, so I figured it was going to have a lot of drop off. But I guess it hung on.
Well, it's funny that you say that because it's actually really cool. So we're gonna get into some facts about Home Alone, and which I thought was pretty crazy. So Home Alone grossed, like I said, 285 million in the U.S. and Canada. It had 190 million in other countries and worldwide. So the total was $476 million. That's well over $1 billion, I think, in today's dollars. As we mentioned, the production was 18 million. And I said in the opening weekend, it averaged like $14,000 per site, and just 6% of the final total, and added screens over the next 6 weeks, with a peak screen count of 2,000 in the 8th weekend of the start of January 1991. Now,
Wow,
this is really
8 screens.
Yeah, so Home Alone was the #1 film in box office for 12 consecutive weeks from its release weekend from November 16, 18 through 1990 to the weekend of February 1st, 1991. So look at Theme Park Casual here. Yeah, over $1 billion, $1.1 million. So it would be
That's
a very
impressive.
successful movie in today. It was removed from the top spot when Sleeping with the Enemy opened with 13 million. It remained in the top 10 until weekend of April 26, well past Easter weekend. So it's almost a full year, almost half a year here.
Yeah.
It made 2 more appearances in the top 10 in the weekend of May 31st to June 2nd and the weekend of June 14th to the 16th, before finally falling out of the top 10. After over 9 months into its run, the film earned 6 times the debut weekend and ended up making a final gross of 285 million, like we said. It was a top grossing film of the year in North America. The film was listed in the Guinness World Records for the highest grossing live action comedy ever, and held the record until it was overtaken by The Hangover Hangover Part 2 in 2011. So that's almost 25 years where this thing was the record holder for that specific category of film. By the time the film had run its course in theaters, Home Alone was the 3rd highest grossing film of all time worldwide, as well as the United States and Canada, behind Star Wars was 322 million, and E.T. was 399 million. According to Home Video Box, the Box Office Mojo estimates that the film sold over 67 million tickets in the United States. It was also the highest grossing Christmas film until it was surpassed by Dr. Seuss in 2018. Now,
Wow.
that's amazing.
I mean, I can't believe it ran that long. At that point, much like your Christmas lights, just leave it going and keep it going through the next
Now,
Christmas.
name a movie today that would last that long. I would say maybe Top Gun was probably closest, but name a movie today, Top Gun Maverick, that could even touch this.
No.
It's pretty amazing. Theme Park is correct here. Perfect formula, heartfelt, slapstick, and likable kid actor. And Joe Pesci, that is right. Yeah. He was, anything he touched was pretty gold back then too.
Yeah, he and Daniel Stern had they worked really good off each other.
Yeah, so think about that just for a moment. Like, how that's crazy. Like, all these kids probably saw this movie multiple times. I would say family members, family. A lot of people probably went back to see this multiple times. I think that's probably why it exploded. And then I'm pretty sure that this is probably John Hughes's most successful. Look who shows up late.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. You're getting a lump of coal.
No, he's getting worse.
Move this man!
Right.
No prune candy for you.
Prune candy.
Look who else shows up late. He's in the pod
Howdy.
here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, boo him.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and you know what? You can boo him, and he can.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
You'll probably see that quite a bit. I just got off the phone with the kid and wife, and no excuses. No excuses. We went live 23 minutes ago.
You knew this was coming. You could have planned for it.
Yeah, you could have. You're absolutely right. But no, isn't that crazy? So it was one of the highest grossing live action comedies for 25 years until Hangover 2, not even the original. Wasn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
And then you had just how much money it made after the fact. And I'm pretty sure it made even more with VHS, DVD.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to get into some other stuff about it too, but it's pretty wild. So we're going to do also, it's amazing because, yes, we talked about this first week. It almost made its budget. It's almost like they should have called someone at the movie theater. Hey, can you go see it one more time? But we're going to show what's in the theaters as well.
Shut your drums and stop kicking the face! We're trying to watch the movie!
So in the theaters, Home Alone, like I said, this was November. It was also new with Rocky 5. Do you remember Rocky 5?
Probably not.
That's the one where he fights like a street fight with the former. He's passed away now, but Tommy Gunn. He was a boxer. Yeah, at the time. Rescuers Down Under. I remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was pretty much it for the new movies. But you had Ghost in there, which was another big movie that was on there for a long time. But not quite a bit of kid movies, I would say. When this movie came out. There's just really only Home Alone and Rescuers, I would say. But look at that. Rocky almost had it. So you know Kevin rubs that into Stallone all the time. He's like, hey, look, I got you. I got you. I've taken down huge actor and a huge film series.
I think at that point, Stallone would probably just go, yeah, it was a paycheck.
So look at that though. So if you take Rocky out of it, it beat Child's Play by almost double, which is wild. Dances with Wolves was not a kids movie. I don't know what you show your kids, but that was not a kid.
I think my third or fourth grade teacher showed us a clip from that movie, but she didn't have the edited copy from the library. And she didn't cut it off before the sex scene started.
Oh, yeah?
We didn't really see anything, but for kids that young, we were kind of like, oh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I get it.
Look of panic on her face.
Yeah, I get that. I remember parents trying to do that kind of stuff. Was your face more like this?
Maybe. Not as furry, though.
Wow, I have a Jacob Slatter. Really? Okay, thanks. Let's see here. Wait, I'm thinking of All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yeah, those are two very different
two very different films. Like some say Avatar is based off Dance with Wolves. All Dogs to Heaven is pretty original. But yeah. But there you go. Pretty wild. Home Alone beat out Rocky. It's lasted all the way until like the summer of 1991, and pretty wild. But this is the house, and this is why everyone's kind of like, what did the parents do, right? So,
yeah, it's a nice house.
It is a very nice house. It's actually a real house. I read the other day. Last year, you can stay in this house for like a night. I think it was not a night or a day for like $25.
I mean, that's smart for any of these famous movie houses.
For like
you can either live in it and just pay for everything, or you can turn it into an income.
Yeah, they do it for a few days for the holidays, I think, and they do $25, and then I think they even kept it kind of decorated some areas of the home to the movie. But this is the house. This also reminds me of the house in Uncle Buck. It's just a very big Chicago style mansion, I would say.
It's kind of that 90s opulence.
Yeah, this is when parents could afford things. You need to show. Yeah, I don't never got them, man. You're gonna have to upload them to Drive. I never got them. If they don't have booby traps, theme park says, when you stay, I'm not paying. I think for a gag they have the paint bucket hanging. So from what I saw, but
turn it into a puzzle room. You got to get out.
Can you imagine all the things that you can do in this house when you're living by yourself or living?
Yes,
or you're
you
home
can run
alone
up and down the stairs, jump on the bed, eating popcorn.
at 8. I think he's supposed to be 8 in the movie. He's like 8 or 9.
Yeah, 8.
Mm-hmm. And Macaulay Culkin was 10 when he filmed this, by the way. So he played a younger kid. He looked younger.
Yeah. I mean, he still kind of looks younger than his actual age. He's just got one of those faces.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be a cool thing. Home Alone escape room. I think that would be neat. He came up with some clever ideas though for the robbers. Like one of my favorite was all the cardboard cutouts that he did for the
yes
a party. I was like, man, I wonder if I could even pull that off as a kid, because that was pretty cool. He even had Michael Jordan, which, by the way, that cutout that he has and that cutout Michael Jordan that he destroyed is worth quite a bit today. So,
I believe it. And actually, in the opening, just few minutes of this movie, they set up everything. Like when he goes into the basement, you see the mannequin parts back there that he ends up using. You see basically everything that is a plot point or a trap.
Yeah, the spider
used later on. The laundry chute, you see that. You got the spider. You get the kind of the tour of the house when he's going around talking to everybody.
Yeah, it's true. You're
it was
right.
actually really well done.
No, you know what? You're right. I kind of missed that, but you are right. Now that you say that, he did. They did kind of hint at all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like what's that movie trope? Chekhov's gun. If you see the gun, it has to be on a mantle. It has to be used later on in the film. And so you got like Chekhov's laundry chute and
you even see the pizza
furnace.
guy. The pizza guy shows up in that night before
and hits that little metal jockey every time.
Yeah, I know. Stupid jockey. Right there at the bottom of the right there. I wonder if they added that and if that's actually really a part of the house. Let's see here. But yeah, let's see. I love that scene as a Chicago Bulls family. Yeah, I don't think if you in the 90s, especially 1990, that was like peak. That was like right before the Bulls took off. So like 1991 is when they, 91 is when they won their first title. So yeah, this movie came out right. He was good, but he didn't win anything yet. So, but yes, Nicole, you're right. I think any family in Chicago, either a Cubs fan or a Bulls fan. Now, who is he? These two criminals are probably the goofiest, funniest criminals ever on film.
Yeah, Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci really had good energy together. If I remember correctly, because I went back and watched something that had a couple of like cut scenes and I compared against an original script. And there are a couple of scenes where they actually flipped their roles in the scene because they established personalities that weren't written into the script as they kind of worked with their characters on set.
Right. And a fun little fact about this is Joe Pesci actually avoided Macaulay Culkin and acted mean to him on purpose because he wanted the kid to be legitimately afraid of him. So that's a good thing about Joe Pesci. He's very method. Let's see here. We were already watching. Oh, okay. All right. But yeah, he Joe Pesci, right? He's always really good at playing a really bad guy, right? Goodfellas, Casino, even JFK, the one we reviewed previously on this channel, he was always very good at playing like a psycho.
Well,
And
I mean,
kinda
he's short. He's got that very particular voice, so he's really good at playing a little weaselly guy. You never see him as like physically threatening, but you know he's going to be trying to get every free penny out of you as possible.
Yeah, that's true. And I think when people knew that he was going to be in this movie, they were like, "Wow, he's going to be in a kind of a kid-friendly movie." That's weird.
Yeah,
But he played a typical Joe Pesci character, but it was kind of
it
mellowed
was like
down
a
a little bit.
cartoon version of that.
Yeah, and they do go through the ringer. I mean, iron to the face, they step on nails. Pesci gets
Oh, that
tarred and
still makes
feathered.
me wince.
His hair gets destroyed by a flamethrower.
He gets his gold tooth knocked out.
Yeah, and he shows that in the beginning of the film when he pretends to be a cop,
Hmm.
and Kevin kind of sees it, and then that's how he remembers him is the gold tooth. And what's the name of their like bandit
The wet
tagline?
bandits. The wet bandits.
The reason why they call him that, I always thought was funny, was the fact that Marv there would like clog up all the sinks in the house and then flood the home. Like, okay,
It's
dude, you already
it's not
robbed them.
bad enough that he's stealing Christmas and everything from them. He's got to ruin their house.
Yeah, why you gotta like do blood damage? Why you gotta add that to the mess? That's horrible. It's just horrible. They're not very nice people, I would say that.
No.
But they were good characters. They were fun. I think both of the actors meshed really well. Like they were really on par, being really good
Yeah.
together. I thought that
and
was great.
if I remember correctly, there was some cut script pieces that actually made them a little bit more sympathetic, but they cut them because they felt that what's the guy's name? Chris Columbus felt that the comedy and basically the violence against them used for comedy would not land with audiences if we had a soft spot for these guys, if they had some sort of tragic backstory. So all of that was cut and just wanted them to be mean and heartless.
Yeah, like just a bad guy, right?
Yeah, it works.
Because a kid doesn't know backstories.
Right.
He's just afraid of them, and he stands up to. He's like, I'm not afraid anymore, and he stands up to him, saves his house, all that stuff. And there was a scene too where they show that they go, okay, he's just a kid. I'm gonna go in there and not ring on the doorbell and talk, see what I can do. And he plays that video, that movie, the Filthy Animal movie, which is not real, by the way.
I was many years an adult before I learned that that's not.
I know most kids are like, Dad, can we go rent? No, because it doesn't exist. But there's that scene where he's like, snakes.
I know I've heard that name.
I know that he sound like a snake.
Snakes. I don't think I know no snakes.
Yeah, I think he just got murdered.
We got to get out of here. No. We're not the only ones working the street. Don't you think it'd be nice if we had a description for the cops when they show up? I love it.
I know it was great. Fun times, and they were both really good characters. I thought. But like I said, she does, the mom, the poor mother of this whole film. She realizes she left her son Kevin in midair, where she's like, "Oh, did I forget something?" And that would be such a gut-wrenching moment. Like, where did I leave my kid?
You can't turn around.
Did I leave him at the house? Did I leave him in the airport? Did I leave him in the taxi? Did I leave him? Like, where do you start going through your mind where you left him? And again, if you are a parent, you have any little ones, this is your worst nightmare. If like leaving your kid. Now, a lot of people have debugged, or not. I guess I debunked, I would say, this movie. Like, this movie wouldn't really exist today with cell phones. You could probably, your kid might not have a cell phone, but with a cell phone, you can probably, I don't know, reach more people. Because a lot of people at the time of this movie, they were on vacation. So they had answer machines on. So they didn't have, something readily handy to
Right.
call them. I would think the dad would call all of his mafioso brothers to see what's going on.
I mean, especially making calls overseas, you're dealing with international switchboards and uh, different setups for things like that. And there's so many different stages where things could fail with a landline.
Also, the one thing I always chuckle at too, because I do travel, is the scene when they're running up to the gate. There's no way they can do that today.
No.
No, they'd be like, whoa, you were supposed to show up 2 hours ago.
Yeah, what's the dad's brother say? He says something like, "We're never going to make it. We've only got 45 minutes." And dad's like, be optimistic. It's like, 45 minutes? You're going to spend that much time just getting your pat down.
Yeah, or standing in line, or especially if you're going international, you do have to do a lot of more loops to travel, luggage and all that stuff. I don't think this movie really would make sense today. But you know what though? Even though that is a case where you have no cell phones, you have the issues with the flights and stuff, it still stands. Like you watch this today, you can still get a lot out of it. It's still the meaning behind the movie still hits you, regardless. And that's what makes a good movie, right? Regardless of all the physical features around, does the message or the meaning behind the movie still impact you? And that's what makes a long-lasting movie. That's why
the story of being separated from family, Christmas, thinking you hate them, and then realizing that you actually miss them, and all these other things. That part is timeless. Now, all the setup around it that kind of conveniently puts them in the situation. Yeah, we have technology that works around that now, but it doesn't need to be updated. You can just watch this as it is.
Yeah, this reminds me of It's a Wonderful Life. It's the same thing. That movie was made in like the 30s. There's a lot of things in that movie that could be different today, but that movie still hits you in the feels, like it still gets you right. So still makes sense. So she does finally get home, obviously, and she does finally on Christmas morning. Because on Christmas Eve, he goes to Santa Claus and he says, or some random Santa Claus in the street. He's like, "Look, I know who you are."
He's like, "I know you're not the real Santa Claus. I'm old enough to know what the deal is." And the guy's like, "Oh," he's like, "But I know you work for him." Oh,
yeah. Relay the message. He wants his family back, and it comes true. His dream, his wish, his Christmas wish does come true, which is pretty cool. Now, the mom does have some helpers to help her get through there. I mean, the airport's really friendly. They try to do all they can to get her bounced around. She doesn't really have trouble. She doesn't have to. She just stays in airports. There is a time where I think she gave up some of her valuables, or
she like $500 cash, a maybe actual Rolex, and a whole bunch of other stuff, and then had to still throw the pity card out there before they would give up the seat.
Yeah, and she that lovely couple helps her, but this guy right here, John Candy, very small role in the movie, but he has a big impact in the movie because he helps her get that last stretch where she's like, I just can't get there. Like all the flights are closed. If you've flown into Chicago, around this time of year with the snow and Christmas, it's very hectic to get there. But John Candy, even though it's, like I said, a small role, he plays a very impactful role, and he gives her a ride, which I don't know if a lady would do this today either, but he gives her a ride to Chicago, and he basically tells her, you're not a bad parent, you just made a mistake. So, and I don't know how many people would climb in the back of a U-Haul and get in with a random polka band from the Midwest. Yeah, he is the hero of the movie because she's frantic. She's like, "I'm a horrible mother. I yelled at him. I locked him in the attic. I left him."
I mean, I think it'll come as no surprise that his story about leaving a kid in a funeral parlor was improv. Because they basically, from what I understand, and I hope I'm not stepping on any fun facts later on, they had him for one day.
Yeah.
And so they basically, so Chris Columbus did what he does with John Candy, basically put him in front of a camera and let him make the scenes as he wanted, and spent hours and hours and hours sitting in that set of the back of a box truck, coming up with different versions of stories to tell to her to try to comfort her.
Yeah, and
You
he
just
told
had
her, you know,
fun with
look,
it.
I left him at a funeral. I left my kid at a funeral home, and that was he was okay for
Yeah, he
after
said, yeah,
6 months.
he was like, he was okay. After 6 or 7 days, he started talking again.
Yeah, so she
She's
tells him
like,
like it could be a lot worse. Like, you know, you could be with
maybe
a.
we shouldn't talk about this.
I left him with a dead body, you know. But he tells her, you know, you're in a U-Haul, you're in a truck, with some not so great parents. Like most of them haven't
Yeah.
talked to their family in quite a long time, or either they don't even remember their names, you
Mhm.
know. So she has some perspective there that yeah, I just made a mistake. Yeah, you know, it's not the end of the world. He'll forgive you, as long as you know, show him that you still care about him and you came back.
Yeah.
But yeah, Inside the Booth showed up and says, "Hey, everyone. Hey, good to see you, buddy."
Hey,
Says he loves John Candy. Um,
who doesn't?
yeah, he's a great. I think he went too early, but John Hughes also liked John Candy, so that's why a lot of times he's in his movies. So another character that also kind of really hits you is the scary old man from next door that supposedly murdered his family.
Yeah. Old man Marley.
Yeah, Buzz with his wild story. And Kevin is literally scared of this guy the whole movie.
Yeah, he
Right.
bumps into him in a couple different places and runs away every single time.
Yeah, and he he's like, oh man, like he sees him at the was it the where they catch him up shoplifting because he's so scared he's trying to buy a toothbrush.
Yep.
He's like, hey, I want to talk to the manager. I want to make sure this is the right toothbrush. And he bumps into him there. He bumps into him a few other times. But he does talk to him in this church because I think it's Christmas Eve. Kevin's missing his family.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the night of the antics of catching the robbers. And he's sitting there in church making his wish. And the old man shows up. Kevin's a little shocked that he's even there. And he tells him his story. He's like, no, look, this is what happened. I got mad before you moved in. Got mad at my relatives, my son. I told him I didn't want to see him anymore. He said likewise. And we haven't talked to each other for a very long time. Now, this has happened to most people in the world. This is why it hits so hard with some folks who watch this film. Some people have been in this position, but he basically says, you know, I'm afraid to talk to him. And Kevin even says, "Why? You're afraid? You're like too old." He's like, "No, you're not too old to be afraid." So he's like, I just wasn't sure if this person, my son, would answer me back. And
I won't get into the details, but I'm familiar enough with a situation like that. But I can totally understand him not wanting to make that phone call.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Right now he just has the fear that that's the way it is. But if you call, then you have confirmation. You either are wrong and you can reunite, or you have confirmation that they truly don't want you in their life anymore. And that would be a really scary thing to hear from your kid.
Yeah, and I think a lot of parents who have been in this situation, this is the part of the movie where you're like, wow, like this is me. So yeah, you get to hear his real story. He basically tells Kevin, you know, this is okay. Thanks for talking to me. And he tells him his story, and they both kind of learn from each other. Like, one, not to be afraid of everything, but there are things that you can be afraid, but you got to do it. You got to do things. So anything you're like questioning, and that's why you're afraid, just do it, because you're never going to know, right? If you don't. So,
and I actually think I don't remember the details of it, but I think this scene with Old Man Marley, as he was called, was not in the original script. I think he was just supposed to be a scary neighbor, but they kind of worked it into the more of the story to
Yeah.
kind of give somebody that Kevin could kind of bounce off of, with also kind of in a difficult situation of a different type.
Right. And what makes this scene what makes another scene, the scene at the end where Kevin reunites with his family, this guy also reunites with his family.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very cool ending to a film. It's probably one of the best, I would say. And it's weird because most John Hughes films, they either hit you like this one or you're like really excited about it, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that was an awesome movie. This one is, I think, one of his best, to be honest.
It's kind of a weird combination, because this is a very strong emotional scene that is followed up by the rest of the movie, which is basically a live action cartoon.
Uh-huh.
But it works for some reason.
Yeah. Then here's the scene where Kevin also sees his rest of his family, his brothers and sisters, his dad. His dad finds the tooth.
Yeah.
And they're shocked.
Buzz is even kind of happy to see him a little bit until he
because he didn't
goes
burn
and
the
sees
house
his room. But he did destroy his wall.
He did, but he's surprised. Everyone's surprised that he was because the mom even says, like, I gotta go get milk. We have no milk. He's like, oh, I bought some. Don't worry about it.
By the way, did you notice the price of milk in the movie?
Yes, and it's funny that it's good that you say that. But yeah, it's pretty wild. There's a lot of different things in this movie that, like, one person on Twitter, when I said that we were going to mention this movie, he talked about the phone issue where, like, now he said the phones don't work, but I'm pretty sure that got fixed somehow, or like it was just the international lines that got messed up. So that was a thing. And that's another goof there.
Well, it can kind of be explained on that one a little bit. The tree branch does fall like right near their house. So, and the electrician guy says, like, all those wires are real messed up. It's going to take us a few days to replace them. So I kind of got the idea that whatever the problem was, it kind of existed from their house to the street and didn't really affect the other houses. They were just empty because everybody was out of town.
Yeah, I guess that's true. All right, so I'm gonna show you something real quick, because you did mention, and you actually reminded me about it, and I totally forgot. But this Instagram post shows you the prices of the grocery store for 1990, 2002, 22, and 2023. So today. So in 1990, the grocery list that he had was probably roughly around $20. It was double that in 2022, and then look at the jump from 2022 to 23.
Oh yeah.
We're not going to get all into politics here, but isn't that odd? It took almost 20 years to jump double, and it almost doubled in 1 year. That's ridiculous. That is,
yeah. Inflation is a word that I can only say on Weekend Harder.
Yeah, 248% there. Yeah, so blame who you want on that one, but I thought that was funny that we were going to talk about this movie and somebody had a post about the prices of stuff.
Yeah, see, I didn't look that far into it. I just saw that he picked up a half gallon of milk. It was like $1.14.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Like the cheapest budget stuff I can get near me is like $3.75 right now for the same amount.
To go back to the 90s. And that's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
To relive those moments. Now we're going to get into, let's see what someone says here. The price of gas in Paris was crazy. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we're going to do some fun facts here, and this will be fun.
That's the fact, Jack! That's the fact, Jack!
So we already mentioned the first one. Home Alone held the Guinness World Record for highest grossing live action comedy for 25 years. It was beat out by Hangover Part 2. John Hughes, the screenwriter, wrote the script in the movie in about 10 days. So think about that again. $18 million, and he wrote it in 10 days, and it was a
Yeah, I
huge
think because
success.
the agreement with the studio took so long to finalize that and to get it out when they wanted to, they had about like half the time that they would normally want to work on it.
Right. Yeah, and you're right. And I'm sure they added some things like you said earlier about the old man and John Candy. The movie helped inspire sequels, video games.
There's only one.
So you don't think 3, 4, and 5 and 7 and you don't think those exist?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. All right. Well, there was a second one, Home Alone 2. Macaulay Culkin did that one. He gets lost in New York. That one's funny though, because he actually makes it to the destination. But he first like the airport, but then he goes to New York, and why they go somewhere else. I think they go to like Florida or something. I
think
can't
so.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. All rainy over there. This family should never travel. Let's just put it that way.
No. I mean, in that one, I can sympathize with because he looks away and looks back and sees the back of who he thinks his parents are. And as a young kid, I did that in the mall. I just like start wandering away with the other family, and then I hear my voice or my name being called over the shoulder. And
Well, my kid never leaves.
they're back there.
My kid never leaves these 5 hands in a place like that. So, maybe he won't. Let's see here. In Poland, watching Home Alone is a Christmas tradition. Due its popularity, over 5 million people have watched the movie in 2011. That's pretty cool. Why wonder why Poland likes this movie so like. The McAllister house where the movie is filmed is outside of Chicago. While you can't go in, that's wrong. You can. This is old, I think. You can drive by and see the famous house. No, you can actually rent to go and pay. Some days you can pay $25. Kevin's older sister Megan, played by Hilary Wolf, was on the judo team for Summer Olympics in '96 and 2000. That's pretty cool.
Harry and Marv are lucky that she wasn't left home alone.
Yeah. The phrase "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal" that Kevin imitates from Angels with Filthy Souls is not a real movie. Nope, not a real movie. So there's your fun facts, folks, and we'll give you this.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Now,
Well,
it was... Go ahead.
Did you want to go back and hit that comment you started earlier
What was that?
from Nicole?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, thanks, co-host.
Because I didn't know that was Kieran Culkin.
Yeah, Kieran Culkin was the kid who wet the bed, his cousin.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Kieran's been in a few movies with Kevin and also by himself. So they're like a good set of brothers in Hollywood. Yeah. So, but trying to see if I can find a recent movie that he was in.
The one that I think of most of the time is Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, he was in Scott Pilgrim. Recently, he was in he's in Succession, that TV show.
Okay.
Yeah. Apparently, he's going to be in the new Scott Pilgrim as well.
Okay. Oh yeah, they did bring back pretty much all the characters that voiced the animations.
Right. Let's see here, and there's some other thing I just saw. I don't know who Sandra is, but yeah, there's a girl here named Sandra that's highlighted with him too. So I don't know if that's her. They're related either, but anyways, yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah,
nice little fun facts. A few. What does it say here? A few previous actors from Home Alone are also in John Hughes movies. Yeah, baby. Yeah, a lot of them are. John Candy, Kevin.
I mean, both John Hughes and Chris Columbus, I think when they found an actor that they enjoyed, they would pull them back in for a lot of other projects anytime they could.
Right. Okay, so there was a movie, or not a movie, a video game when this came around. This was Nintendo, and the original Nintendo, where you would go through the home and set traps and try to escape each room or level of the home. I don't remember how many levels it was, but I'm pretty sure it was really a really hard game.
Yeah, and probably not intentionally so. It was probably just really clunky and almost impossible to control the way that you would need to.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, there are very few movie tie-in games that are worth spending your time on anyway.
There was also a talking Kevin doll that you can that talked, I guess, that said all his lines. This is up there with the Steve Urkel doll.
Yeah, but neither of which I'm sure ever annoyed parents. I'm sure they loved hearing those lines over and over again.
Yeah, that was probably a really fun thing around the house, I would say. Did you play the game, or did you ever have the doll?
I don't think I ever did have either of those.
Okay.
I might have rented the game at some point, but I definitely didn't have the doll.
So that game was hard, says
Yeah.
Ann. So, well, hold on. Rick says he's got something for us. So I think I have it ready. Hold on.
Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Let's see. The couple with the jewelry, baby boom, 16. Yeah, that was the grandmother in 16 Candles, police officer, also baby boom. John Hughes had his own multiverse. Yeah, he did. He really did.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a boy. Buzz's girlfriend was a boy. The other cool thing about this movie that happened recently is Macaulay Culkin recently got a star on the Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
And that was good for him. And Rick made a point on this the other day. They don't just give these. You have to kind of like, people have to sponsor it now.
Yeah.
Like raise money. And apparently a lot of people wanted him to have a star, and he should.
Well, I know he was a kid actor, and they almost always grow up having rough lives. And I think his rough life was not a secret to anybody. But I remember starting a couple years ago, he would show up in random podcasts or YouTube videos as a guest when he was trying to get like his life back in order. So
yeah, there was even a commercial where he reenacted a lot of his scenes as an adult.
Yeah. And, I mean, from what I hear, he's done a pretty good job. I mean, it's always a struggle going forward like that but
yeah, he did some pretty neat things when he got a little older, but he also had a lot of, like you said, I think his stage of after like his teenage life up to probably his 20s, 30s, because he's about our age. He's close to me, I believe. Yeah, he's born in 1980, so he's 2 years older than me.
Okay. Yeah.
So he's had some struggles, but he did have some other good movies like My Girl, The Good Son, also. Now he's doing some other things now, but I mean, just one-off type of stuff. But he deserves to be on. I think he deserves it. But what's really cool about this moment here was his movie mom showed up for him. Yeah, she showed up, and you know what? She was a nice mom. I think she was a good looking mom.
I haven't watched the video and heard her speech, but I hear that it's kind of a tearjerker, that it makes you like hit you right in the feels.
Yeah. I don't have that ready to play, but I heard it was that way as well. But you can see that he still looks like he's in good shape. He's doing pretty good. And it's good to see that he got this recognition that I think he deserves. So
Oh yeah. I completely agree.
Let's see here. So that's really cool. Excuse me. So there you go. There's a famous scene there too, where he puts on the aftershave.
Another thing that I'm sure no parent around was ever annoyed by after their kid saw that movie 3 or 4 times, they would do that every morning looking in the mirror. I certainly never did.
Yeah. I never did this either. I never screamed in the mirror and said ah, but I think a lot of
At least not
kids.
until I started shaving. Then I stopped again, obviously.
Yeah, a lot of kids did this and said that filthy, filthy animal line, which was good. So, which was good. That means it was a good movie. If the kids remembered a lot of the lines and the kids wanted to reenact it, in some way, that means it was a good kids movie. And if the parents enjoyed it as well,
Yeah,
watching it
because
with their
it's a
kids.
kid movie that's got enough of an actual emotional story there that it's not total suffering for the parents to watch for the third, fourth time.
Yeah, because there are things out there that are made just solely for kids where adults really can tune out and they just you can't watch.
I love you. You love me.
Yeah. Remember my little sister going through that phase. Ugh.
Yeah, there are some things like that you have to be aware of. Yeah, he's really turned his life around. It
Mhm.
was a wonderful speech. It was. I don't have it ready to share at the moment, but it's out there. Maybe I'll put it in the description after the fact. But Home Alone, I think, even if it didn't have the sequel or the sequels, I think it would always. It's just a standalone movie would be great. Always will be great. I don't think they could ever remake it. They've tried with some of these sequels, and it just doesn't hit.
Right.
I think with the sequels, they focus too much on the gags and the craziness than the
Yeah.
actual story of Home Alone. And that's and I would say that with the second one too. I think the second one was a little bit more slapsticky, and there wasn't really a.
I mean, it's just basically rehashed. So the emotional beats are rehashed, and that means they're never going to hit the same way again. So
Mm-mm.
it's an enjoyable movie, but it's definitely not as good as this one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Caillou. That kid creeped me out. Forget Caillou. You know who Caillou is?
Only from selling DVDs back when I worked at Best Buy.
He was like a little bald kid. Like, why is he bald? Does he have like
Why
a
you
disease
got
or
anything
something?
against bald people?
He was a kid though. Like, but
Hmm.
I don't know. They just didn't explain it. It was weird. But yeah, it just a fun movie all the way around. And I always thought it was a good movie that you can watch with your family.
Oh
So,
yeah.
what were your final takeaways from this, Beard?
I mean, we've covered everything pretty much. It's not that deep of a film. Even the emotional beats are pretty simple, but especially if you've got family situations around the holidays, kind of like Old Man Marley, um, you can it doesn't feel cheap. They did it well because it's really easy to take something like that and make it feel cheap, like you're just trying to tug on the heartstrings and you don't actually care. But this is done well enough and genuinely enough that I think it hits home without just being like a dark spot, like making you revisit a dark time. It kind of gives you a little bit of hope. And I don't know. I just really like this movie.
Yeah. So everyone, if you haven't seen it yet before the Christmas holiday, or any other holiday, New Year's or whatever else you do celebrate, make sure you check it out. I think it's worth the watch.
And
again.
if you have seen it, watch it again.
And yeah, definitely watch it. Definitely rewatch it. Now before we let you go, we do have to let you know that it's still cold out there and it's December. If you can't find yourself a Christmas sweater, at least get yourself a ATW hoodie at mixtees.com after the weekend -logo there. We'll take 20% off if you use our code. Also, you support not only us, but you do support other YouTubers out there, like Joker Voice or Pop Bros, because they have a store out there as well. Pop Bros Podcast runs the store, so it'd be great to check that out, get some gifts. And by the way, if you do purchase a hoodie or you did get something like that, let us know. Take a picture. You can tag us in on our Twitter account after the weekend, and that's all in the description also. and we'd like to see you in it. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
I have to get a new ATW shirt because my new dog ate it. Like literally bit a hole in the middle of it.
Oof.
So, yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah. Or it could have been.
Fun, somebody stole all our lunches.
I'll tell you who took those lunches. That damn Sasquatch.
Yeah. Mhm.
Always that damn Sasquatch.
Well, Beard, it was fun hanging out with you, talking about Home Alone without
Oh, yeah.
R2. I did miss R2. I don't think he's coming back or coming to the stream tonight, so it's not going to be a happy ending like Home Alone. But
Yeah, you didn't really know how to handle yourself without him trying to derail you every 5 minutes.
he tried.
I kind of felt like I needed to jump in there and substitute, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
You're nicer than him. Yeah. I'll have to check this movie out sometime. You haven't seen it? Really? Wow. Kind of like Beard.
Yeah.
If you have seen it multiple times, watch it again. Always try to
Yeah.
watch it if you can. It's regardless how many times you see it, it will mean very much to you. All right, everyone. We are not going live this Saturday. We have a break, and then we'll be on a break for probably until after New Year's Eve. I don't think we're going to do anything before that, but we will be on a little break. And so if you do see anything, it could be like silly shorts or something about movies. We might do some of those. Who knows? But yeah, well, you will not see us until the next year. So everyone, you have a wonderful holiday. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a safe and happy New Year's. Beard, R2 usually says a message here for everyone before we head out. Do you want to say anything?
Say yes to more things, because you can almost always back out later, but you very rarely get offered the same thing twice.
Say yes to all things.
More things.
More
Say
things.
yes to more things.
That's what she said.
Michael.
And I ruined it. All right, everyone. You have a great one. We'll see you later, and we'll see you next time on After the Weekend. And I will later. So.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.